Hello, are we on? I think we are on. We've got a lot of light in this shot because I'm right by the window, so excuse my paleness. Now, I'm reading a book called Why Does E equals MC Squared by Cox and Forshaw. That's Brian Cox and Jeff Forshaw, by the way. So, Heather, you might be interested in this book. I just read a passage which done an experiment with muons. Basically, they were using something that Einstein said, that travelling close to the speed of light time travel is different depending on your perspective. If you're on a train travelling at 99.94 the speed of light, then time will pass normally for the passenger on the train, but for someone standing on the platform watching the train, time will slow down dramatically. To perform an experiment they did in, I think it was at Brookhaven in Long Island, New York, they had a muon. Now a muon only exists for 2.2 milliseconds. And they wanted to see if they could extend the life of this this muon, this particle, this elementary particle. So they went to this Brookhaven, who had this this accelerator which is about 14 meters in diameter, and they know that a muon lasts for 2.2 milliseconds, so it should do 15 laps of this ring. But when they fired it, it did 400 laps, which means it lived for 60 milliseconds. I think it was 60 milliseconds. Let me just check to make sure I got my fact right. 400 times... where is it? I see it somewhere. It's right here. It's right here, buddy. 2.2 milliseconds. Dies. Brookhaven Laboratories. Brookhaven National Laboratory on Long Island, New York. This experiment was done in 1990, by the way. They had a 14 meter diameter ring, which could blast a muon around 99.94% of the speed of light. And yeah, it lived for 60 milliseconds, which means it extended its life by 29 times, which apparently is what Einstein predicted years before. And this is interesting because they said that if you were in that tunnel with the muon travelling at 99.94% of the speed of light, then the muon, from your perspective, would die in 2.2 milliseconds. And the interesting fact is that they also said that we could travel to the Andromeda Galaxy, which is 3 million light years away. If we were travelling at 99.9999999 of the speed of light, we could get there in 50 years. Because as we're travelling close to the speed of light, time for us would stand still, or it would slow down dramatically. So, even though to an observer outside the ship, you know, hundreds of years are passing. I mean, I think it was, he said that if you went to the Andromeda Galaxy, it would take you 50 years to get there if you travelled that close to the speed of light. And if you turned around and came back and did a 100-year round trip to the Andromeda Galaxy, about 6 million years would have passed on Earth. So we could travel to the nearest galaxy, not the nearest galaxy, the nearest solar system, which is, I think, 3 light years away. If we could travel close to the speed of light, not even at the speed of light, but close to it, it wouldn't take 3 years to get there. I mean, it would probably take about a month. There's obviously all this equations and stuff, but they also said, I mean, you could live far longer, I suppose, to the observer, but not to us. To an observer, your lifetime would extend 29 times longer. To us, it would still be about 80 years. because we are travelling at the speed of light, or close to the speed of light. But time for us would slow down, but not from an observer's point of view, but not from our point of view. Which is weird. So we could get to another galaxy in 50 years, because space and time are relative. Anyway, the book. Why does E equals MC squared? I'm only 57 pages. I'm on the 4th chapter now. But yeah, it's actually a pretty cool book. I'm actually enjoying this book because it's easy to read. It doesn't bombard you with science. Well, it does. It just gave you a whole couple of pages on an equation for what I just told you. A light equation, a light clock equation, which I could go into more detail if you want, but I don't really want to. Using simple things like Pythagoras to figure it out. Very interesting. Oh, no idea what I've just said. It probably makes no sense to any of you, so I'm going to turn off and